What is up? It seems like this is going to be a regular thing, maybe weekly from now on, and I don't know what to call it. Maybe a working title, Tea with Sean, because at this time of the week, I'm usually drinking my favorite ginger milk tea, and the theme of these conversations are all going to be related to closing. And yep, if you have a better working title, just share it with me. For those of you watching this live right now, comment hashtag live. If you watch this at a later time, hashtag replay. So the main theme of episode number 1 is to talk about the remote closing lifestyle, which is probably the main reason you are tuning in right now or watching the replay. You're following my work, you want to study, understand the mind, and how to use it in the right way, especially when all other things have failed and it's kind of your last resort because you have invested in all the things that you could possibly have invested. You have watched the videos 6 hours a week, 6 hours a day, whatever it is. You have watched all the videos and you're not sure why the results are tanking. So you are at the right place. I'll give you a few, maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your drink, grab your notebook, grab your list of questions, and let's have a drink together. Especially those of you that have been asking me for coffee and chat. Now is the time, okay? Because we're gonna go deep with the all things closing. And the main theme for today is, what is the main thing that really, really counts? Okay? Especially if you're at a place, like I was saying, you have tried all the techniques, right? You've downloaded all the stuff, you've bought all the stuff, and like, I've spoken with so many closers, I've worked with so many closers to a point where I know exactly what you are going through right now because I went through the same thing in 2018 before even most of this even began and became into what it is now. That is what I went through myself, okay? So whatever you're going through, I went through myself. And I'm not even here today to... if you're watching this live, remember to leave a comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Because my focus for today isn't even on myself. And I have the best case study to share with you to let you understand it doesn't matter how stuck you think you are. It doesn't matter how overwhelmed or uncertain or frustrated or demoralized you are in your closing career, whether you have dreams of doing this part-time, whether you have goals of doing it full-time like myself. It doesn't matter how low you think your starting point is, because you probably cannot get any lower than me when I started. You probably couldn't get any lower than our special guest today.
Hi everyone.
Okay, she has no idea that we are going to interview her today. So this is completely no script. We're going to show you the most raw side of things, the truthful side, okay, of what it takes to go from completely no sales experience, no background, and you'll understand, okay, after today, after you watch this episode, that what it means to go from like, oh my god, stuck, like I can't complete a sentence properly stuck, to closing 3, 4, 5 figures with the confidence, with the self-belief, with the transformation that I know you watching this right now, that's exactly why you are watching this video. So without further ado, let's ask our very first guest on Tea with Sean, episode number 1. This is probably going to go on for a long time, and what you're watching now is the very, very, very pilot episode when, hey Ardinia, nice to meet you again. It's time to have coffee once again. We did this last week.
Hi Ardinia.
Yeah, one day this series is going to turn into a thing of its own, and you are witnessing history with the very first episode, with the closer, with the most stuck mindset. And she's laughing now, okay, but you have no idea how many times she cried over the years. Okay, so let's go way, 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 way back. Closer, interview with Closer. And by the way, for those of you that you don't know, we met online through a closing program. And I saw there were people from several countries. And I saw, oh my God, like fellow Singaporean. And that's how I met her. And so we were classmates all the way. And that was how she began. But then let's not even start from there. Let's go way back. Okay, so meet Andrea. Okay. Briefly describe what life was like before you decided that, hey, maybe closing is for me. What was life like pre-closing?
So I was actually working in a sales role in a medical device company. So I'm doing B2B sales. I have some sales background, but it's mostly face-to-face, dealing with big projects. And yeah, so that was my sales experience in back then before closing. And I have been in the industry for 7 years already. But to be frank, I actually didn't have the confidence in sales at all. Like, even though I have been in sales for 7 years prior, I still couldn't handle big projects on my own, and I still didn't have the confidence. So, yeah, that was...
Okay, so the main point is no confidence. That's the main point, okay? And so she comes from a big family, huge family with a lot of family members, and I remember, so before we talk about that, why did you decide that, okay, closing, why did you join this career path? What was your thought process?
Because I had been in my job, my role for 7 years, and I couldn't see the growth that I wanted to be. I didn't see the kind of progression that I wanted, and you know, I was really looking for a breakthrough based on my career. And I remember the point that made me decided to invest in personal development is because I was almost 30 years old, but I didn't hit my income goal at all. So it was mainly due to my income back then, and that is why I decided to invest out of my own pocket into a sales, into a closing course, and that is HTC, high ticket closing.
So let me know if the audio is clear because she doesn't speak very loudly. So my question is, why closing? Why not like drop shipping, or why not, you know, another part-time job, or why not copywriting? Why specifically why it must be closing?
So I actually enjoy talking to people, right? I enjoy the interaction with people, and that is why, even though back then I hated sales, in a way I didn't like the terminology of it, but I enjoy the interaction with people, and I know that I could actually do better in what I want to do for sales. So I didn't really invest in any sales training before on my own. You know, it's all based on company training, but I feel that it's not enough for me to really perform as a salesperson. So to make it like more concrete for me, and it's really my expectation for myself, and that's why it's my own commitment and to pursue more sales like training out of my own pocket for my own. And no copywriting is basically because of interest.
Yeah, so the main point is what?
That I want to do closing because I love to talk to people, and I know that it is a skill that I can acquire for life.
Yeah, so how many of you put in the chat you relate to this, the initial starting point when I believe you were having a life of your own, and then somehow over the internet you found this opportunity and you decided that it's not going to be copywriting, it's not going to be drop shipping, it's going to be closing for whatever reason. Maybe like Andrea, you feel that communication is a strength. And then you invested in sales programs, right?
Yeah.
So other than the one that we met, I believe you invested in many programs. And at the time, she was still working as a salaried employee. So Singapore dollars, pretty close to the US dollar, but still weaker. Each month, what was your take-home salary?
So I took home almost about 3K in Singapore dollars back then.
So the initial year of your closing career, just give a really conservative estimate. How much did you spend investing, just trying to hopefully make this work?
So you mean like after HTC, I did spend quite a bit on other
Everything. Just to give a rough estimate.
Wow. Programs, probably about 20-30K.
Yeah, that's a conservative estimate. So look at her monthly salary and look at the crazy amount that she had consistently invested again and again and again, which is not easy to do because it creates a financial strain, right? And nobody wants that. So what is your thought process when, every month you're only making 3K and then you're investing 10 times? Like, what was happening in your mind?
So of course it's over some period of time, but it was because I really, really wanted to make closing work for me. So I invest again and again, and somehow the techniques that were taught to me, I wasn't able to execute the techniques. And I had some realization that probably it's because I'm not able to, I'm having some mental barrier in terms of mindset, or like there are some things that are probably a blockage in me that I cannot go deep enough in the conversations. So I went to find other programs that could help me in a breakthrough in terms of the mindset as well as for my emotional connection.
Yeah, how about share with us your goals at the time? Because the very first time I saw her, it was through video like this. And one of the main things I still remember till today was her goals, like, buying all these sales programs. She said that, you wanted to bring your family to Japan and like buy, I forgot, like a watch for your dad, or I forgot the content. Like, could you refresh my memory with your initial goals, your starting point, your why?
Yeah, so mainly my why, it's focused around in my family. So what happened is, because my dad is a very busy businessman, so we seldom had time to travel together to like a different country. So what I really, really wanted was to make closing work, and I could use whatever I earned in commission to finally bring my family out for a trip together. So we haven't traveled for a really, really long time, like probably about 10 or 15 years as a family, because of work commitments. And it's something deep inside me that I want to do for my family. and also to give back, to really buy my dad a gift, because I know he spent so much on me, and I just wanted to give him this token, a watch. I wanted to give him a watch as a token of appreciation for whatever he has done for me.
Yeah, so the main point is family, and I believe it's the same for a lot of you. And put in the chat, what was your initial goal, that picture you had in mind when you started your closing journey? I believe that you had a similar vision, of giving your family a better life and having that freedom to do what you want to do, get out of your job and take charge of your life. I believe it's pretty similar to, even myself and Andrea, same thing. So put in the chat, share the initial starting point. And so you started your closing journey, and let's talk about the first 3 to 6 months. Initially, I believe it's 2018.
Yeah.
Because I remember being in the same program and I was like, Andrea, let's role play. And you were like, tomorrow I had to go to the gym. And then, okay, Andrea, let's role play. Sure. And then I'm busy. So were you just avoiding me, or you were really busy? So what was the 3 to 6 months when you started this? How was the expectations versus reality?
So, yeah, like role play is pretty important for starting out in closing. And actually, if you ask me if I had really been busy or it's avoiding, I'm actually avoiding the role play itself. Not you, but not you, yes, but the role play itself, because I'm not confident in having a closing. Like I don't even have the confidence to get onto Discord. Back then, yeah, we used Discord in HTC to role play, because I thought it's because I haven't studied enough, I didn't understand the material enough. I just had so much excuse not to get onto Discord for role playing. But looking back, it is because I didn't have the confidence in even showing up to practice the role play. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the initial expectations was after, like, I believe for a lot of us, it's like if I and this is not a good mindset to have, it's like if I buy this program and then I'll be set for life, but then are you actually able to have the mental game, the inner game to follow up, to consistently take action? That is on me and that is on you, right? It has nothing to do with the program. The programs are there to guide us, but it's more of lacking the self-belief that, okay, I can actually build this thing into a thing, even though the learning curve is steep, even though it's overwhelming, it can be daunting. So if you lack that inner drive, you can buy 1,000,000 programs. It has nothing to do with the program. It is you, okay? And so at the time, she didn't have that inner game to take consistent action, and that was really what started the downfall, the downward trend. So 6 months later, what happened?
Yeah, so I went on a few other programs as well, and I've been trying to get on Discord to do roleplay, but the thing is, so one thing that happened, looking back, I realized that the environment that I was in, it's really difficult for me to become the closer I want to be. Mainly because even if I had to do roleplay, I have to sit in my dad's car so that nobody is disturbing me, because I stay in a house where I share a room with 3 other sisters, and there were I live with my grandparents, and the environment is just really difficult for me to become a closer, and I had to sneak in times within my working hours to sneak into the meeting room just to do one role play. So initially it was really, really tough to get the closing started. So in the next 6 months, what happened is, because it's so tough just to do the logistics, and I didn't really plan my life with the focus of being a closer, even though like that is what I really want, but I didn't execute in terms of creating an environment, creating a lifestyle that enable me to become the closer. So what happened 6 months later is I saw a post from Sean, and he is actually recruiting closers, you know. So I remember the first time we met after HTC season 4, we met with a group of other Singapore closers. So we were actually doing role play physically in real life, like we met to do role play. And 6 months later, you know, I actually reached out to Sean myself, and he is already closing for an influencer, but I am still like searching for influencers. Yeah, so I reached out to him.
So just to be clear, I'm not recruiting. Okay, so don't pitch me. That was the old team, which it has disbanded for more than a year. So at the time we were recruiting. Now we are not recruiting. And Andrea joined, and so we found ourselves on the same team again. Ardinia is saying, so often we wait to be confident enough. We build confidence from doing. Yeah, so that's exactly right. One of my mentors often says, clarity comes from doing. It's just that for some people, they struggle so much with their mindset that they can't even do something like this. You know, lift up the phone and film a video or make a call. The pullback is too overwhelming, if that makes any sense. So after you joined the team, then so we're gonna skip the entire team. That's a story for another day. So then both of us left. By then we had already gotten together. So we quit the team together, and then we built our own thing. And during that time, let's talk about the mindset stuff. By that time, it had been, I think, 1.5 years, if not almost 2, since you started this journey. So where was your mindset at the start of 2020, which is last year?
Okay, so at the start of 2020, that was like after we quit the old team, right? And we're starting our new business journey together. Yeah. So at that point in time, I am like super excited to be getting on this new entrepreneurship journey, because this is like really, really what I wanted to do, to become a business owner. So for me, I was very excited, very motivated to get started, but like I was really clueless about building a business. So, you know, I was being hopeful, but it's more so on like very hopeful, but I still don't know if this thing will work or not.
So in terms of mindset, where were you at in terms of focus, knowing your goals, following through, like what Ardinia is saying, the ability to take action and follow through. So in terms of mindset, where were you at?
I don't think I understand your question, but I'm going to try to answer it, okay?
The burnout part.
Yeah, so what happened is I wrote down my goals, and I was trying to do the work every single day, but I was just putting in a lot of force just to get through the day and just to get the items done. But I guess like deep down I was finding it so difficult to actually do what is necessary to build a business. And like I guess at the end of the day I was having this it's very hard to say because it's probably up to a point where I was like I broke down, you know, because of the stress I was going through while building a business and not seeing the results that I want. And I had nothing to fall back on, you know, like I don't have a good foundation to fall back on. It's just really feeling very like a lot of doubts, a lot of fear. that was like my mindset back then.
Okay, so let's go one level deeper. Why were you stuck and why did you feel burnout?
So this one is, I actually only understood this because I had a coach back then, right? So what happened is I didn't know that I was seeking for recognition, and because of this me seeking for recognition, it is so hard for me to just show up as myself in front of the audience that I have while building my business. So it became like, how are people gonna perceive me, right? Almost like having the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, so for those of you who have no clue what's happening, so 2020 was the year that she broke down many times, and there were all these things that she wanted to do, but she couldn't take action, which I believe a lot of you closers, we experience the same thing when we have all these goals, but we can't take the action. Even though it's simple, even though we have already bought all the techniques, we have all the scripts, we have all the methods, sitting in our download folder, sitting in our membership area, but we can't take the action. And what Andrea is sharing is what we want to focus on for the main point of this video, which is the root. There is always a root, okay, a root cause to all these symptoms, especially if you find that I can't take the action, I can't follow through on my goals, I can't build the life that I want to have as a closer. You can't fix the symptoms at the level of the symptoms, okay? So if like buying more programs, changing the color of your suit, downloading more stuff. So for Andrea, she wasn't able to solve any of this because she didn't even have any idea what was the root cause of all this old programming that was creating all this internal resistance that resulted in all the external blockages. So for all of you going on your own respective closing journeys, the obstacles that you see on the outside is not something that you can buy to solve, if that makes any sense. Let me know in the comments. So Ardinia is saying, sounds like you were busy but not being productive. Productive is the critical things to move the business forward. It is very common. Yeah, so the main thing that was blocking Andrea is not so much a lack of the tools. It's inside, the invisible root that was affecting her ability to think clearly and execute on the things that logically she already knew, physically she already had, but the action, non-existent. I would see her go on for days and weeks, just circling around maybe one step or one program or one module again and again, and then she would not know, or she would knew what is the next step, but then she would fall back into. And how many of you closers relate to this, where you either consciously or unconsciously, for example, stay in practice mode, where instead of reaching out to real people, real prospects, real business owners, real leads, you are staying in the comfort zone of doing what you already know. For example, role playing all the time and not getting out there, not putting up content when you know you should be doing, not reaching out to business owners when you know you should be doing, not polishing your profile when you know you should be doing, and you already have sufficient content, sufficient material, like Andrea spending 30K worth of content, techniques, downloads, scripts, sitting in a download folder sitting in a hard drive, sitting in a membership area, but every week she would just circle on just one step, right? And this is a common thing that I see a lot of closers. What we do is we stay in our comfort zone. We don't give our 100% because it is the internal things. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, like what Andrea shared. These are the invisible seeds that, let this be the main point of this video, that this main root, if you don't face it and you don't remove it and you don't destroy the old paradigm completely, right, and make the old way of living completely obsolete and build for yourself a new paradigm, build for yourself a new way of living where you are in control of your environment, you have enough time to practice, you have enough space to create small victories, small wins. You are consistently acting on steps that take you out of your comfort zone, right? You know you should be reaching out to business owners once a day, if not 3 times a week, if not 5 times a week, to build your network, right? To build this vehicle that can ultimately be your full-time, legit, stable closing career. Because I know for a fact, okay, that there are businesses in the internet marketing space, if not even in your country, that require the sales skills, the psychology, the methods that you already know. The question is, do you have the inner game, the confidence, the paradigm, the consistency to create gradually, right? And you can see this is as real, this is as raw, this is a real life example of someone. She couldn't even complete a proper sentence when she would do these videos, you know. She wouldn't even find the time to role play. She had no idea, no confidence how to do a proper sales call. And if someone that started like this from here with no confidence, no mindset, no self-belief, just spending all this money hoping that one day I'm going to buy the right thing that's going to change everything, but it never works. This is no suits, no fancy background, nothing. This is as real as it gets. And my point is, from here, it is still possible to build something out of your skill if you're able to take the small steps and do the things that count. And I'm talking about the things that count internally to shift your beliefs. You know, the beliefs that are not serving you, you have to know how to leave them behind. The beliefs that you need to take on, you need to nurture, you need to know how to build. So when you do this consistently over 6 months, over a year, while most people are still stuck in what I call the easy money mentality, which is a lazy paradigm. It is a lazy mindset. Okay, and this kind of mentality where you think that the more stuff I buy, it's gonna change your life. No, okay, you're lying to yourself. It will only change your life if you're able to take it out of your download folder and execute, right? But you can't execute if those invisible seeds, those invisible roots are keeping you captive. So how she broke through was through changing herself internally. You understand? It's not external. Okay? She didn't change her reality by changing the external. Because the external is always an effect. And you as a closer, you want to master the cause. Okay? So, if you have watched up to this point, let me know in the comment section. What are your main takeaways, your main insights from this session for today? Because my intention is for you to not chase anymore on the external, okay? Because it is a one-way street towards burnout. Eventually, your structure is not going to hold if you don't have the foundation of self-belief, of clarity, okay? So the final thing I want to share with you is everyone's paradigm is different. Her struggles of not having the time, not having the space to build this, not having the confidence, not having the self-belief, all these things were unique to her own paradigm. Okay, it's unique to her. My challenges were unique to me. And what you are facing right now, your paradigm is as unique as your thumbprint, okay? So if you find that you have been struggling with just one area, whether it's clarity, whether it's to know exactly what are the steps you should take to build your closing career, or whether it's how to connect with a potential business owner that you have identified as an ideal partner, an ideal business partner, let me know, okay? Drop it in the comments, or if you want to keep it private, you can always send me a personal message either over here or on Telegram at Sena, Seansena. Okay, and I want to thank each and every one of you for having this session with me. And if you are watching this over at my YouTube channel, remember to drop a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so every time there is a new episode, you get notified. So share with me what is one topic that you would love to discuss or for me to address next week, same time, same place, same channel, and let's break it down. Let's go through it. Let's share some stories, and let's pull together to make these episodes valuable and insightful for our community. It is a small community, but it is a very real and thriving community. There are closers, salespeople that very much need support in terms of their inner game, their need for transformation, and of course all the hows, all the techniques of how to build this into an actual, tangible, practical thing that you can do full-time to take charge of your life. Right, so I'm gonna leave this on for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and let's see if we get any quality questions. In the meantime, let us just look through the comments. I see Sergio, nice to see you. If you watch this at a later time, feel free to comment and leave your number one question as well. So any final conclusions or statements that you would like to share?
Yeah, so I hope by sharing my story, my journey, my past, it's helped you one way or another. But the main thing is, if you are finding that it is hard for you to make closing work for you, or to really make closing into your full-time career, and you really want to do it, probably it's time for you to reach out. Because if I never reached out to Sean back then, we
would never get married. If she never reached out, we never get married.
That is not the main point, right? So if I never reach out, I really would never know what went wrong, like what is the root cause behind me not being able to take actions, and I would just continue investing again.
So is it important to face the root? Like, what is the root? Like, root of a tree? Is it relevant to me? I just want to make money. I want to hit my first 10K. Why are you telling me about a root?
Okay, so without solving the root of not being able to take action, or having some like self-doubt, right? Not having the kind of self-belief for me as a closer, I would never have thought that I would gotten here so far, or being able to set up my own business 2 years after my closing journey. So it would never have happened. Like, because what happened is 7 years while I was doing my sales role back then, that was what I really wanted. And only after I understood what is the root cause behind me not being able to take action, and not having the confidence, not having the self-belief, and it was only after that I start to have the confidence to do closing, and right now even run my own business. Like, just within 3 years compared to the 7 years I spent without understanding my root cause. So I hope that this gives you the perspective to see the difference in understanding and seeking and reaching out and seeking for help.
So these 3 years of facing your root cause, facing your paradigm, is it worth it?
Yeah, so it's not easy, I have to say. It's really not easy because there's a lot of times I've broken down. But if you ask me whether is it worth it, it's definitely worth it, because every single time I got to illuminate my root cause of whatever is holding me back, I actually went through a healing journey. So because of the healing journey, I had to like break my old patterns, break my old habits, and let go of a lot of beliefs that were holding me back. And it's a difficult journey, but it's definitely worth it.
Okay, if you could do this all over again, would you prefer I put in, some of my best sales scripts, maybe a tuxedo, and some objection handling videos. I put it into a $97 program and I sell it to you? Or would you have done the same thing all over again? Which would you prefer?
That is, I think the answer is quite clear. I would do it in a way where, not all these techniques, right? That's a huge no. What I really want is to understand myself.
But I can give you my best sales script to make 5 figures.
You know what? All these things are actually free online. So that is not what I really want from you.
Okay, but if you don't buy now, next month, it's going to be more expensive.
Are you serious? Is this like a joke?
And then
it's never gonna work.
At the start of 2020, there was this streak where you were closing deal after deal after deal. So can you share, was that because you had a script, you changed your suit, or how did you do that, going from someone that was so stuck? You're probably the most stuck person I've ever seen. So how do you go from there to having the clarity and confidence to close a string? I remember it was the start of the year, before the pandemic hit, you were closing like north, south, east, west, everywhere. So what was that process like? What happened to create that?
Yeah, so when Sean is saying I'm the most stuck person, right? I think I can, even though I hated it, but I can only recognize that was where I was previously.
Okay, share some examples of stuck. I don't think our audience understands what is stuck.
Okay, so being stuck, I actually was just having a lot of resistance in just making, let's say, getting on a live video like this, or just making a post. I would struggle for 1 or 2 weeks just to do this one step, and previously it's it would take months for me to get onto role play, until someone had to reach out to me, I couldn't even initiate. I couldn't even ask for help. That's the thing. That was me staying where I was, and without people reaching out to me, I will continue to stay where I was previously. So that is the definition of stuck for me.
Yeah, and then in 2020?
So in 2020, something changed, because I was able to understand my root cause, and I was being told what to do so that I could overcome, unroot this unable to self-recognize myself. There are certain processes that I went through. So I went through that, and what happened is I was able to get on calls, real closing calls, and I was able to have a conversation, able to hold a space for my prospects to actually go deep to helping them understand what it takes to actually move forward. So before that, I couldn't do that at all, right? I couldn't listen. I couldn't guide them forward with with whatever information that they tell me, I would not be able to guide them forward. But in 2020, like in the first quarter probably, I started to see some results from there.
Yeah, so this is how a real life, the most stuck person in the world, it is possible, okay? It's not impossible, and you really have to let go of a few things. Number one, this doesn't work for lazy people. Andrea was never lazy even though she was stuck. It doesn't work with the easy money mentality. If you, at some point you realize that the more stuff I buy, it's not going to change my life, So the easy money mentality, that has to go. You have to think from a place of service. You have to face your fears. You have to take action no matter how fearful it may seem. And that is what it takes for her, to gradually create those small wins over a period of time. Not instantly, not because she downloaded a bunch of stuff. You have to face yourself. You have to face your paradigm, and you have to face your goals, because the alternative is to create a life of comfort where you are still stuck in a job you don't like. You're unable to take charge of your life. You're unable to deliver on your goals and dreams for yourself, for your passions, for your family, for everything, So I believe all of us really are the same. We had the same starting point. We had the same goals, and we had the same experience. So this is for you to see the really the most raw side of things, and how painful it is for a closer to grow, and the kind of sacrifices that a closer needs to go through to really make this work. There's a reason why, there are probably tens of thousands of us, but really how many closers are really doing this full time from scratch with no sales experience, with no background, and able to do this full time as a legit, consistent, full-time career remotely. How many of us do you really know that are doing this, right? So you want to make this happen. This is what it takes. You have to let go what you need to let go. You need to take on what you need to take on and build this for yourself. And hey, you are not alone. We are here, okay, with this series, with our tribe, with some of our free content that's gonna basically give you the support that you need, right? But like I said, if you're lazy, you think this is gonna be easy, then this is not the game for you to play. Okay, closers, we are hungry, we are driven, we take consistent action, and that is what it takes, okay, for you to make this work. So I'm looking forward to those on the replay team, the replay squad. Leave your questions, leave your feedback, reach out if you need to reach out, celebrate if you have a win. Okay, and I will see you in our next episode, same time, same place. Maybe a different guest, or if you still want Andrea part 2, let me know as well.
Yes, invite me back.
Okay,
but inform me beforehand.
Okay, so that's all I have for you. It was fun doing this, and see you in episode 2. Bye-bye.
Bye.